Well, finally, everyone knows that aviation has come a long way in the past 100 years or so, but you may not know that Tennessee plays a big part in aviation history. Well, now there's a special place in Sevierville where that special chapter is on display for you to check out.
Here in the Smoky Mountains, you can get so high up you seem to scrape the sky. So it's only right that there's a museum here dedicated to Tennesseans whose passion is to fly. Bob Minter is the president of the Tennessee Museum of Aviation.
Tennessee's aviation history has never had a home before, and Tennessee's aviation history from Memphis to Mountain City is quite significant. A lot of it, in fact, resides in East Tennessee, or began in East Tennessee. The story of Edward Huffaker, who worked with the Wright brothers, is an example of that. And of course, we've got lots of other things. Needless to say, in current day history, Federal Express kind of holds the cup for that one, because that's the most significant employer in this entire state.
People from all over the state and the country come here. Many have pieces of aviation history themselves that they want to keep, but are happy to loan so others can see them.
People come in here every day and say, we have something that we'd love to share with people. We just don't really know how to do it. And when I explain to them our philosophy about loan instead of donation, they go, oh my goodness. And suddenly the whole dynamic changes. And because they understand the historical significance of much of that, and certainly the stories behind them, all of them are unique. We're able to keep that story alive for them and share it with others where otherwise it wouldn't be possible.
One of those pieces on loan from a Nashville family is an amazing piece of American military aviation history associated with the man who, when America was in the depths of depression right after Pearl Harbor at the beginning of World War II, led a bombing raid on Tokyo itself, raising morale and some say changing the course of the war in the Pacific.
General Jimmy Doolittle obviously had quite a significant part in the war in World War II. With the raid on Japan. It in fact was a turning point of the war, I think, from our standpoint, after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. He was awarded that Medal of Honor in 1942. And people come here from far and wide to see that medal. It's really, really moving. In fact, one day a gentleman was standing there and I went through and walked over. He was the only person in the gallery at the time, and I said, you know, I noticed as I walked up to him a tear coming down his face, and I put my hand on his shoulder and I said, are you all right? He said, I'm fine, I just never thought I'd be in the presence of this thing. And then he looked at me and said, you're too young to know what this means, and I replied with, I think you're helping me understand it a little better.
Many things here can help us understand and appreciate flyers from our state better by checking out the Hall of Fame portion of the museum.
There are Tennesseans, dead and still living, of course, and there will be others to come, who have made significant contributions either from Tennessee or who are Tennesseans and who have made significant contributions to aviation for our nation or the world. And they should be recognized for that. The memory of those people, those accomplishments, and all that they did should be preserved some way, somehow. And we enshrine those people here for a year in a ceremony in the fall. We've had 2 so far. And it's a great way of preserving that part of Tennessee's aviation history, I believe.
This is the cockpit section right here, and the engine there.
Are these parts, you'll use some of these parts?
No, what we're going to do with this is just make a display out of it.
Oh, okay. Golly, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Part of the purpose of the museum is to restore, rebuild. There's a whole hangar here devoted just to that task.
When you think about museum pieces in a museum, think maybe of artifacts, things that are in one place that have passed their useful life. But you know what? That isn't true here at the Aviation Museum.
The basis of the collection here is flyable warbirds. Now, as you look around, you'll see that not all of them are flyable, but that is the basis of the collection.
Yes, a whole squadron of planes that still can scream toward the sky. And Bob Minter says it's still important that they do.
Aviation and airplanes have always fascinated everyone, from children to adults, and it'll never change. But it's particularly important to us to have those who flew these airplanes or worked on these airplanes or who were brought home by these airplanes safely somehow, by some miracle, because of their contribution during World War II, to stand here and see history they made brought back to life.
Bringing aviation history to life at the Tennessee Museum of Aviation in Sevierville.